Wunderschönen Freitagabend. Jetzt gibt es mal ein Live, ein bisschen außerhalb der Reihe, für die, die sich das später anschauen, und zwar hier im Labor. Und wir haben einen ganz besonderen Gast, das ist Micheal Paletta, ist aus den USA, hat einen schönen deutschen hat einen kleinen Roadtrip gemacht in Deutschland. Und das ganze Live wird jetzt in Englisch stattfinden. Also nicht wundern, wir lassen auch den Stream jetzt so ein bisschen hochlaufen und dann sind wir gleich wieder bei euch. Ich schalte gerade mal kurz um. So, now we need to wait some seconds.
Okay.
Put into another place, so maybe we have a better view, so everybody can see us. So now 10 people coming in.
There we are.
So here we are. So, kurz für unsere ganzen deutschen Freunde, wie gesagt, wir haben heute einen ganz besonderen Gast, das ist Micheal Paletta. Der hat sogar noch früher angefangen, als wie ich das so gemacht habe mit dem Meeresaquaristik. Und zwar hat er bereits 1983, 1984 schon bereits mit der Meeresaquaristik begonnen, das erste Aquarium gekauft. Wir sind heute hier im Labor und machen heute ein englisches Livestream für die ganzen Besucher oder die Amerikaner, die sich das natürlich auch alles anschauen. Also von dem her, ich werde die Fragen kaum sehen können, weil eben das Handy oben drauf ist. Die werde ich versuchen, etwas später zu beantworten, falls ihr die habt, beziehungsweise dann am Sonntag, wenn wir live machen. Und jetzt drehen wir dann ins Englische um, für alle die natürlich, die das dann auch dann verteilt wissen. So, Micheal.
Yes, Claude.
It was really great to see you here.
It's great to be here. We've had a wonderful 10 days in Germany. We came here for the Christmas markets, but you know me, we had to see some reef aquariums, and we've seen some amazing facilities and everything else. My wonderful wife and daughter, who let me go to see reef aquariums. While we went to see Christmas markets, we went to the Porsche Museum, we went to a castle. We did everything a tourist should do, and I always squeeze in some reef visiting as well. And those have been just as spectacular as everything else here. Germany has actually been wonderful. It's been a wonderful trip.
So you had fun, right?
We had fun. Only thing is the parking here is non-existent. So if you come here, drive a small car.
No, maybe you cannot drive proper cars.
I got the car parked and didn't scratch it anywhere, so I'm pretty proud of myself.
Yeah, because it's a small car, so not a big one like you have.
It's not as big as mine, but it's bigger than a lot of the cars we saw. But yeah, we were in Karlsruhe and we saw the vivarium aquarium. Some of you saw that from the show that was here a couple weeks ago. But going there and sitting and watching it for half an hour and seeing 60,000 gallons of reef life that have been around for 12 years. It's one of the biggest reef and probably one of the nicest reef tanks I have personally seen. And it doesn't just have corals in it, it also has 2 live sharks. So for all of you that have had a big reef tank forever, and people go, where's the sharks? This is the tank that actually has the sharks. So if you come to southern Germany, you have to go to Karlsruhe Vivarium and see the reef tank there. The corals are spectacular in that they have been growing for 12 years under the bolus method. So Claude has a lot of experience with the bolus method. I know there's a lot of fighting about it online, but if you see that tank, and I will be sharing pictures of it on my own Facebook page of what this tank looks like and how spectacular the corals are. I mean, I was meticulous in looking around. I did not see one damaged white spot, no signs of disease in any of the fish, in any of the corals. From my view, it looked like an actual reef. So I was quite amazed. I did not expect this in a small, relatively small town to see a reef tank this spectacular.
Yeah, but you must also say that there's a lot of people working here. It's the curator who runs the reef tank, Hannes. It's also a very empathic guy, of course. Mm-hmm. And he's disciplined, so he's really take care of everything. So the work at the end, you can use the methods, sure. Like every method, you have advantages, disadvantages. What we're doing mainly from beginning on, that we make the ICP testing all day long. So we have now from this large aquarium, which one of that you visited, but also from the core farm you visit in France. So we do all the testing with the breeding. And the sky you visited later, so the private one. So I show you some different way how reef keeping is in Europe for the people. So maybe you see also a bit difference in coloration of lighting and different type of animals. But all of them we also follow with them since they starting the businesses, since they're starting the tanks, since they're starting these large aquariums there and many others in the world, with our ICP testing to show that where we get all these numbers and the ideas how. Because I also know that we have a lot of discussion about it. So how correct are the values? So why we don't work only with MS or why we do it on that way? So when we have our talks together, and for me it's always super impressive to see if you come now to Germany and you see in France and you see the different type of reef keeping, this opens to a better talk about. So how is my idea when I work with you and I want to say do these changes and we go in this direction. So I hope that maybe now you understand it a little bit better. What is the goal? So on which way we want to go there. So how it has to look like. And the key to creating a natural reef, there's something which is in the DNA of German reef keeping. So it's way more to creating these structures of reefing, this how it looks in the Red Sea, how it looks on the Indonesian reefs. It's way more in the DNA, as I see sometimes in the States, whereas in the DNA is it has this blue and it has to have the color, and how more different type of small sticks I have, how better it is.
Right.
So there's all about number and it's all about the color of it. But the structure, the composition of colors and the healthiness of the course and of the fish, and even to have the right fish on it, that's the most important for us, in my opinion.
In talking with you and talking with the other folks I've talked to in Europe, which I talk to fairly often, and talking with the guys at Reef at Home, which are friends of mine I met in France, and seeing their structure, talking to Martin Kunzelik and his fabulous 900-gallon tank, one of the things that immediately impressed me is you are still more old school in that, and that's not a criticism, that's a superlative comment. You're meticulous, you're more patient, you let the corals grow and fill in, you're not constantly moving them and adding a new frag, you're not changing the equipment on a whim saying, oh, this is new, I need to do it. I'm a bad person because I'm always testing and changing new things, but on these systems and talking with the other hobbyists in Europe that I do, it's a lot more, for lack of a better term, how we used to do things. They're not looking for incrementally changing things step by step by step. They have a system that works, like as with ICP, you now have over 350,000 ICP points. Yeah. So you have a baseline from which to judge. So someone comes in with, this is off, you have 1,000 tanks like this, you can say, okay, this is off, this is what you need to do to bring it down. Or this is way too high, this is what you're gonna see. So you can tell people ahead of time. Plus, the beauty of doing ICP tests with you is you look at the trends rather than the absolute numbers, because the trends are far more important, particularly for the minor trace elements, than typically are just the solid numbers. If you have a manganese level here, and it should be here, you know not to bring it up to here overnight, but to gradually bring it up. If someone has a tank with gonioporas and their gonioporas are not doing well, you can look at this and say, okay, these tanks had low manganese, the gonioporas weren't doing well, this is why you need to bring it here. That's just an example of what you can provide versus some of the other ICP providers.
Yeah, the reason at the end is that we are core farmers. So when we start, I start nearby 85, so nearby the same time, but I go into a small store and we have to work there. So we did not have this bunch of SPS and different type of cords. We had the usual things, and over the time, and very late in my career in reef keeping, I decided to start with the testing on that side. Before, I worked for some universities of breeding sponges, so I had access to different analysis methods, and they're giving numbers out, but we didn't understand and see that as a whole picture. We ran the numbers. We said, oh, this is the pH. Oh, this is the manganese, as you said. Oh, this is this one. Now, over the years and over the development, as we are here in our ICP section by itself, you see the different machines here, and actually the camera is standing on the MS. We use it as a table. A very expensive table, by the way.
Yes, probably the most expensive table you've put that on.
Yeah, so we're coming to another development now. So you said, oh, the manganese has to raise up, and we see people saying, oh, manganese is down, let us give. Others claiming our salt have too much manganese, but they don't bring it in relation. So how many magnesium I would dose, and how much it will have effect on the manganese then on long term.
Right.
So in this case, you said, oh, I have a lot of goniopora and my manganese is always too low. I maybe see. It is a view on one element which has an influence on goniopora, but will not help if you don't have the nutrients and all the other things around.
Right.
So we see very often that the salinity is not correctly detected, or this one is missing. But then you have the emotional element, like the manganese. It's very emotional because it's anti-caking, it's not. It's part of this contamination, and we're using all that word. And when we do the interpretation, we said, hey, maybe you change from that salt to our salt because it will help the gonioporas better, because the combination of the elements is for that type of species a bit better and has a better function at all. But you have to see the whole picture and not only a number. So like the same what we discussed today a little bit about the way how in the US ICP is seen. So I know exactly what's going wrong at the beginning when ICP coming to the States. So there were some companies coming in and promises way too much with a complete new technology. Things where we have to learn how to deal with artificial seawater.
Right.
Your tank, what you're running, has nothing to do with the open sea.
I agree wholeheartedly on that.
And you see, because you mentioned the bolus system, so you see that how a chemical is acting in the water, they do not that what the chemistry book said they have. Something else happens here.
Right.
If you don't look the whole picture, you don't see that you have a large surface, you had a lot of dirt in your tank, not enough current, and you don't think about what happens in this area with a low pH. What happens with the chemistry in this area when you're losing your biofilms because you don't feed proper or you don't treat proper. So, and you remember maybe the first steps, what I'm doing with you is, no, you don't need to add more. We have to remove.
Right.
And you were surprised because I said, this you remove, this you raise up. So why the fluoride? It's like, we will not have any success if you don't put the fluoride up.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing my tank was lacking, because there has been very little discussion, particularly in the States, about how crucial fluoride is. But since I've changed it and kept it stable, the corals went from some were gray and beige, have really burst into colors. I'm getting significantly more growth tips, much faster growth, just by simply keeping the fluoride level, as you suggested, at at the suggested level.
Yeah, but the reason was that the first companies going out with the ICP, they were starting a little bit more famous than others, they didn't have the possibilities to detect it.
Right.
So, and cause it's an investment. And if you don't use the investment, you say, it's easy to say, all the other shit which I cannot detect is marketing. So that's the normal way how to act.
Right.
So, and even if you have, at the end, no knowledge about how this works, because you are not a reef keeper, you are not a reef farmer. And we have the same situation with the strontium, by the way. Strontium will always be told people, yeah, that's accidentally in the water. They use it accidentally for calcium. Why? Because standard chemist people, they read it in the book. They have no other explanation for it. So while we have slightly access to Chinese and other countries' studies or works, so we know exactly that strontium is crucial for coral health. Sometimes we don't understand why.
Right.
So what is affecting the bacteria, the biofilm, the growth of the coral? What everything is affecting that? It's like human bodies. We only cannot live from carbohydrates. We need a lot of things to stay healthy and getting old. Same as the coral. So the function is quite the same at the end. So now there are some studies coming out explaining exactly how the strontium is working. And this is the proof that 40 years discussion of strontium was wrong. If you see that thing on experience, this is what you need to have. It's experience. If you don't have a study, if you don't have a proof how the thing is working, because we don't understand it, like all the microbiome stuff, the organic stuff, in fact, we don't understand it.
We're just starting to understand.
We're starting that, we try to learn it, and it's every time when they discuss about it, yeah, we have to learn a lot. But what it means, we have to learn a lot means we have no idea.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
So, we have no idea how this is working, so we can only work on our experience, on our empathy for the corals, which means we have to sit down, we have to observe we have to do slightly changes, observe the changes, write them down, or what I can do, use data. So I can say, okay, here's an idea. I go to my database. We have a really good software about this. I take it out. So please show me all the tanks that have this relation, and please show me what the customer said to it. And then you see, oh, 98% of all the people say, if I have this is missing on 10,000 tanks. So I say, oh, maybe there's something behind this.
Yeah.
So you can check for what. So using data and doing the interpretation, and what I doing at the end is we check every day our core farm. We check every week such aquariums like you see, which are old, which are stable,
right.
which follow exactly rules and exactly ways, using even the carbonates, everything what you use there is controlled by ICP.
Right.
So everything of it, and also with MS, and also with all the other machines what you see here, because some people even think we have one machine, but others than the most other labs we have many machines here. Even they are differently. So I can maybe show you later the differences of all the machines and why they are here. And so we put all the data together, and then I put my experience as a core farmer, and due to the contact with all core farmers, many core farms in the world. And if 10 core farmers will say, I'm 100% sure this has to be on this level to have this success, you can get it as a proof.
Right.
If there is a scientist coming out, and we have some of these people being scientists, being very young, and telling, yeah, but this is on a study. The studies make in the sea. And there is the biggest misunderstanding ever.
Right.
Is that the people don't think about when they argue about the bolus, about the other things, that we have not a situation in a beaker, not a situation like in a reef. The water in the reef has not much trace elements,
right.
Very low.
Because you have an infinite amount of water flowing across it, so it doesn't need to have higher trace elements. Same thing with the amount of organics and
but they
plant
have.
material. They have some, but
because they have food.
Yeah.
And the amount of food is amazing.
Yeah, compared with what we have in a reef tank.
So, exactly. So what we're doing is, we turn the shit around all day long and give them nothing to eat. In the sea, there's a wave coming, you have 100% water change every 5 seconds.
Right.
With fresh water, perfectly prepared with food.
Food, better oxygen.
The better light.
And it blows all the waste away.
And all day long, fishes going into the coral, breathing ammonia, giving particularized phosphate. Then the fish go out, catch a food, go back into the coral to hide it, like the anemones for anemone fish.
Right.
You can see all the acroporas. Mainly you have a lot of fish coming in, coming out, coming in, coming out. So our fish learn very fast, oh, we don't need to. We can swim around like we want. We have the skimmers, we have all the technology taking all the stuff out.
Right.
So our core is starving, and we need to feed them additionally.
Right.
And so it's very simple to over-fertilize them with food, because we don't change the water. And that's the big difference, and that's also why bolus system works totally different due to the large surface and the mass of bacteria are in the tank. That's why it creates a total different situation like it would be in a beaker. And that's the point. Even the time when you dose it plays a role. If you place it in the morning, it works fantastic. If you dose it in the evening, it doesn't work.
Right.
But this is typical the chemistry, which has to be adjusted to the situation that we have no seawater. That's also why you see in our lab, we don't use natural seawater content. We do reference values and recommended values, which I give to you,
right.
which is out of that what you have in the sea.
Right.
What I'm doing is that I calculate the amount of food and the amount what they can take, and which they can need to take more, which they usually get in the seawater, because all the particles, the bacteria, the phytoplankton, is concentrated organic, amino acids, vitamins, all the elements in the body. So the bacteria plankton will be eaten by the phytoplankton. The phytoplankton will concentrate by the water. The zooplankton eat all of this, and it's concentrating till a large colony eats a shrimp. And in the shrimp, you have 1,000 times more element concentrated as in the surrounding seawater.
Right.
So that's why the core eat it, and then it's in. It's like same for us. If we're bathing in beer, it makes no sense. We have to drink it.
Right.
And that's a little bit the same story about it, behind it. So, and all the situations in the lab, that's the difference what we're doing here, is especially looking on this point of view. preparing and made it for coral production.
Right.
So the highest level, the highest need, and the most instable situation where you can run a reef tank. Yours is stable, sometimes you change, we change a lot. So that's one of the main keys of the difference in the philosophy. Also in the products we made, we don't make it like natural seawater.
Right.
We make it for aquarium water. So, and that's a different thing in my opinion.
Well, one of the other things that you taught me probably a year ago, 18 months ago, that I tell everyone, if you learn nothing from me, understand that ICP is at the top of the pyramid. At the bottom of the pyramid, you have to start with good, clean water. Then you have to have the proper salinity. Then you have to have the proper major trace elements. You gradually work your way up. You can have all the perfect ICP and trace elements up here, but if your water is impure at the bottom, you don't have the right salinity, and your major trace elements are wrong, doing everything with the minor trace elements isn't going to matter. And a lot of people don't realize that, particularly people that are starting off. They think, oh, I got to do this ICP testing. They don't test their salinity, because I find a lot of people have salinity way up and too low.
80% not right.
No, it's not right. It's the simplest thing to test. I use a simple glass hydrometer because the plastic ones are junk. The refractometers, once you get over the age of 40, you can't actually read the numbers to see.
And you need to do a right calibration. The most will be delivered with a wrong calibration solution.
Right.
So, and there's a difference between salt water and seawater,
right,
or artificial seawater. There's something totally different. So, and it's also in the lab, so we can go around a little bit. So about the machine, so that we can show you what we have here differently. So we are here in the ICP section. So, and it is really quite normal that people using ICP for detecting salinity.
Right.
So, and now you will say maybe this is not possible. It is, because if you use one of these machines like this one here, which is so the standard ICP like everyone has.
Right.
So you can also detect with them the chlorinity, so the chloride part. So you have the sodium chloride. So sodium is easy, but you can also detect the chloride. So now you can use the chloride for a calculation. You will take a formula, and this formula is based on natural seawater. So if you know how many chlorine is in the water, chloride, you can calculate it back. This is a very old method which was done. As soon as you calculate on the mixture of the salts in natural seawater, which you don't have.
Right.
So that's why it cannot be used, in my opinion, for aquarium water. So that's why you need to detect it. So if you do that now right, so what we do in here is, you can come with me. We have here certain machines, which is the titration machines, and we use the conductivity for a company which calls VW. So, and they can detect the salinity on 0.1 PSU or PPT.
Okay.
So, but we use, that's why we also have the different, that we need these big vials with a lot of water. That's why you ship the 50 milliliters.
Okay.
So, of course, we need that amount to have a proper
salinity.
detection. So at the same time, we detect then alkalinity, detect the pH, CO2, and we need to put it in this area here because we have to take care there's no magnetic influence here around.
Okay.
So that's also specific computers down that everything is protected, so that this conductivity, they're very sensitive on electric fields to have a correct level. So now, after we have detected, we know, and we calculated by the UN water parameter lists, so it will be calculated back to the PSU.
You have two of these?
We have three of these, but two is on the run all day long, and the third one is then for if something is
Something breaks, you have a backup.
or if you find out that something is wrong. That we do in a special way. I can explain it a little bit later. But then we do a site testing every day. We have another machine here, which we do site testings.
Okay.
So we even control the machines. Once again, sometimes so pH is okay, this is okay. So we look especially then on a manual, and at the same time we test in our core farm the same. So we do not. So, but when we done this and we go back to the ICP, so we will produce here. We will produce all the data about the calcium, the sodium, and all the other things. So with this mixture, we can do a calculation a little bit on the same base like with the chlorinity. we can find it out, and now we can recalculate if there is the ions and anions which you have in
Okay.
will be covered the salinity, and test them according to that what here detected. So if we then have a little bit of slight difference, maybe we calculated here 35 and the detection is 34.8, we know it's correct.
Okay.
So now we can give it out. And this system is made by a software which goes into the machine, check immediately up if the levels are together, so it's a plausibility check. And on the other side, this system also check, oh, it's a test for Michael. Michael has in the last 6 tests always between 34.6 to 35. Now we detect 34.8, so it's in his range, is not a big change into percentage. So we use statistics, we use calculation, and we use tests against each other to make a plausibility check for your parameters.
Okay.
And then we give it out. So before checking. So we don't do only one testing, so we do always 2 or 3.
Okay.
And the same what we're doing here is with the phosphate level. So you see that we have 3 different phosphorus levels. So
Right.
we have the total phosphate.
Right.
That's how it started. That was one of the big discussions in the US, that this is a wrong way to see it, which is correct. It is not the correct one. But with the machine, it's not possible to detect orthophosphate.
Right.
I can only detect the element, the phosphorus.
Okay.
So now we use the phosphorus, and then we do a recalculation to the orthophosphate. That means the total orthophosphate, PO4 minus 3. But now, there's a bigger problem. It is not normal that every phosphorus is automatically orthophosphate.
Right.
So it's possible you have polyphosphates, and polyphosphates are very often combined with organic compounds. So we, 10 years ago, a little bit longer, we developed a machine. So this was the first machine ever built on that way, especially for aquarium water.
Right.
So that's why it looks like a little bit weird. So this is the new ones now, they look way more modern. So, but here we have to build it up. So what this machine is doing is, it works on the way on the photometric. This is the main key behind, but we use other filters, we use other light sources, and we have the whole way 3 times where we can detect by laser, by visual light, and by UV. And in this combination, we detect directly the orthophosphate.
So you're detecting phosphate, nitrite, nitrate,
Nitrate
and fluoride.
and fluoride, exactly. But every one of them is specially. So the sample going in, the sample will be divided immediately in these 4 machines.
Chambers.
Every
Okay.
one of them is a single automated machine. And underneath are heaters or oxygen reducers or whatever. And it will be stopped by small bubbles. So that's why it have to go here, that the reagent solution is mixing. And then it goes into the chambers here, this is the mainly part what makes the difference.
For the analysis.
So for the analysis, exactly. You see it's getting quite a bit older, the machine, but
Yeah.
this is one of the best investments I ever made. And unluckily, it costs more than an ICP machine. So
Really?
only for 4.
Okay.
Yeah, but now comes the really interesting thing and the data which I really love to use. I have now a detected orthophosphate. I have now a detected total phosphorus, and I recalculated about orthophosphate total. And now I have the difference. I can immediately see between the difference. So I know it's polyphosphate. And we know how much of this polyphosphate is usually bounded in organic compound.
Right, like detritus.
Yeah, it's more about the color bodies in the water.
Oh,
So
okay.
humic acid, there's...
More the DOC that we look at now.
Exactly.
Type of thing.
And a part of it is polyphosphate. A part of it is binding in nitrogen. A part of it is it's a whole carbon source. With the NPOC testing, what we're doing, or DOC testing, where we do NPOC, we'll explain shortly the difference. We have the difference between them. So we have 5 different levels of testing organic compounds, which is more suitable to the nitrogen organic, which is suitable to the phosphorus organic, and to the carbon organic, and on the fluorescent organic, so on the SAK254.
Okay.
Which is also done by another machine which is outside. Now it's now lights out. So, and now I get more information, which is only a factor. It says not exactly, and you cannot say it's always organic polyphosphate. It's possible there's some others in there, but with the amount of aquariums what we have and test what we do. So today we had about 670 tests today.
Okay.
So it's all the numbers and all the numbers of aquariums. Altogether, we are now 40,000 customers worldwide who are using the lab service. We can see that on the 10,000 people, it will have an effect to lower this, and the results will be there. So we're gaining a lot of experience in that. So I use my experience at the aquarium farmer and with changes and working 40 years with many people like you. And they're reporting me what happens. So now I know, oh, the data shows the same. If I lower the rate, it will have this effect. So later then we check it on polyphosphate, so we work with other labs together and we do the changes and so on. We know, okay, on usually about 70-75% on the test we did, the polyphosphate was bind on organic compound. The other things not.
Right.
So we see on the relations that if you have a high polyphosphate, you lost a lot of zinc because the zinc will be bound on these organic group and the organic group will be removed by the skimmers if the skimmer working well. And we have more problems with skimmers who doesn't work well because we have too much organic in the tank or too less. Like the new skimmers nowadays, they turn too much air in. They destroy too fast the organic compounds before the bacteria can turn it into the aquarium. And that causes that you have getting high halogen levels, your phosphate and nitrate go up off the roof. And you remember I explained you that how a skimmer cup have to look like to be perfect.
Yep.
And as soon as you change it
A little bit.
you see immediately how the nutrients go down without buying expensive absorbers and that stuff.
Right.
And that coming from using data, but also I would still say the most of it is experience. So now, which is also a thing what we never do is people like me and the group who do the interpretation, we never run the machines.
Right.
Because how I can explain now properly, so we are aquarists.
Right.
And aquarists, by the way, or aquarium keepers, we are a little bit lazy, maybe we can say this?
Yeah,
we are a little bit lazy in work. And we all hate water tests.
Everybody hates doing water
So
tests.
that's, if you work as an aquarist here and you have your course in mind, you push automatically the machines and the testing a little bit in this direction you like to have.
Right, you want to have lower nitrate, lower phosphate,
And
you calibrate it so it's a little bit,
you start to do that.
yeah.
It's Friday evening, your partner wants to do something out, you have to do fast, but you see the course, it's okay, do it. So we stop this very fast, because I see that everywhere this happens. Now we have a team of 8 people here. We have a chemist in organic compound, we have all studies you need for lab stuff, and they have only to do proper parameters. If I like them or not, it doesn't matter.
Right.
So, and we are in a little bit of fight here. So this is the lab group and
Right.
the interpretation group who runs the core farm.
Right.
And we told them all day long, no, it's not good. And they say, come on, it's correct. And so we have a fight here.
Right.
So in every month, so sometimes we note it on a paper who's right or not. Mostly we win, sometimes not. Sometimes the lab stuff now win also. So we find a way out. How do we have to change the machine? How we have to do the calibration? Because cords never lie.
Right.
Never.
Nope.
If a chorus shows, so we had some chorus there, like wonderful Chispitolarias from Kenya.
Okay.
African sea, you don't have that much in the US. And these
Are they the blue sparkly ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the blue, violet, fluorescent.
Yeah.
On a soft coral.
Yeah.
Amazing. And we know exactly if the bromine level and other levels going deeper than 72, 70, they lost the color. We know that. So lab says it's 80. Coral lost the color. I put some bromide, coral color come back. I go to the lab, say, hey, what are you doing? It's all correct. It's like, no, it's not.
Corals don't lie.
And so we had a fight about 3 months. They showed me the proof. Everything was perfect. Calibration perfect, this was good, this was perfect. So now we find out that a production mistake in one of the needles taking the water samples out causes that problem. If you go to court, they will win because they have all the calibration, all the data perfect. Absolutely correct. They will win on every court. It was only the coral on top, which I say something went wrong. It's not a big deal, if you have a little bit 5% less than up for a very complicated element.
Right.
But it was a deal for the chorus. And so the coral farm And the experience of the people around here, you see some older guys here working, they also have their reef tanks in 30, 40 years, is the main key of the success and all the changes what we're doing in the lab. That's why we don't use an IC or HPLC, which is slightly used overall, because we do not need to dilute the water. We can use the water like it comes from the sample.
Right.
Other labs need to dilute it
dilute
because
it.
they use IC.
Right.
You need to dilute it by factor 25, sometimes factor 50 or 100. And if you have even a 0.5% mistake and you recalculate it up, you have a huge mistakes there. That's why we have always the discussions that the labs are so differently. The reason is simple: different labs, different methods, sometimes different machines. It's even at the ICP. I will explain a little bit later why we use different machines on them to bring the results. But the most important thing is to prove against your own production. If you don't prove it against the chorus, you run it technically correct, but there is no techniques and no methods making for aquarium water. Right. Even if you go around and you go to the reefs and you take water from there, it has nothing to do with the aquarium. Which
well, even the water from the reefs differs from reef to reef.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Yeah.
Saying it's all the same is pointless as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So this type of machine. So we have 3 of them now.
These 2 are commercial. This one you built yourself?
No, they build it for us.
Oh, they build it for you.
So we said what we want, and they change it. So and these are now the newer ones. But we even change. So that's something nobody have in mind. We even change on the robots where we put the vials in.
Right.
We even build that on ourselves and remove the steel on it. Because when you work with steel and seawater and get a little bit corrosion, it immediately has an effect on the sample.
Right.
So that's why we built all them on our own and keep them clean as possible. And so everything is automated. These are the samples just done.
Right.
So we cover them and let them stay. And in around I think 1 hour, stuff are coming and we'll do the second round.
Oh, okay.
So we always doing also the DOC testing. So we do NPOC. Yeah?
Yeah.
So the NPOC, so you know DOC talking.
Right.
But DOC means dissolved organic carbon.
Right.
So if you put bacteria in, or maybe let me say you have some VSV or some nutrient reducing solutions, there is stuff in which is carbon-based, but it's purgeable. So due to the heat, due to the water movement, to the surface and to the skimmers, it will be removed immediately or taken by bacteria immediately, within less minutes. So if you take then the samples you have on DOC, you have that in. This is not what we want. What we want is the base of carbon, what we have in the water. So that's why we use non-purgeable organic carbon, which is a little bit lower as the DOC, because we remove first all that purgeable stuff. Because we want to see the long chain, we want to see the human assets, we want to see all the other things. And there is a value which is more stable, where we can have a better trend line to follow what happens in your tank. If you dose sometimes bacteria or sometimes specific like...
How about vinegar and
vinegar and
vodka
stuff,
or
it
two
goes
main carbon sources?
Immediately out. Yeah, but if you take a test, did you really check the minutes after dosing before you add the test, before you add the VSV, you before or after? So you never remember if you dose it now how much is left.
Right.
You don't know. So that's why we have to remove all the purgeable stuff and use only that one.
Right.
And the same here, we also can use the total nitrate bound which is in. So we have the nitrate, we have the nitrate, we have the nitrate by itself, we have the total bound, and then we have the difference. And the difference is clear. It's urea, it's ammonia. So, and then we have the other numbers. And so we produce with different machine, which testing each other for plausibility. We also get numbers which we do not need to detect ourselves,
right?
But automatically we know what is in because we have all the other numbers around. So it is only urea and ammonia can be left, nothing else. If you know that.
Yeah.
So there's no other possibility. So. And this is then what we use.
It's interesting that you're looking at urea and ammonia, because there's people now that are dosing urea and ammonia, not just simply ammonia.
Yeah, no, but this is this is also something funny. The recipes for dosing on corals is a combination between different things. So this urea sample or other things is done since 80 when we developed the Balling light method, which was nearby the 95, 96. There we used that stuff. So it's not only trace elements what we have in the bottles, we also have different type of nitrogen sources, of amino acids, of that stuff. So this is well known since 30 years. So sometimes for us it's super surprising that, oh, we find out that we can dose urea. This is really easy to find in all the studies that that corals can take.
But it's become a hot topic, particularly on social media.
Yeah,
I mean, I've now been dosing ammonia for 2 years, and it's made a significant difference in growth rates. I haven't gone to dosing urea because I don't really see a whole much larger benefit from dosing it beyond dosing ammonia.
You can do that with urea, but this is you need to know in which relation you have to dose it. The ammonia type is a little bit difficult because you lost it very fast. It will be used by bacteria,
right.
And many people have the experience if they dose too much ammonia, they're getting too much algae grow.
Right.
So it's very difficult.
Basically, get their nitrates building up, and then algae take up nitrate much better than they take up ammonia. There's a fine balance. I mean, I found you got to keep the nitrate levels under 15, then you don't get the algae issues. If your algae bumps over 15 to 20,
for standard reefer, let me say for standard reefer, it's the sweet spot, 0.1 phosphate and 10 nitrate.
Yeah, the 100 to 1 ratio we both came up with. Yeah.
We tell them since 20 years, and it's. It was so funny. I talked with Charles Stelbeck about it, and he said, "Oh, they know it's 150 like this." And I said, "No, it's 100." But he talks about the molar mass, and I said to Charles, "You cannot go out with molar mass calculation for what you do. They do the testing with phosphate, and they do the testing with nitrate. So give them a number. Yeah, but real calculation is 1 to 94.68. It's like, hey, Charles, come on."
I had that same discussion with him on a webcast. And he's going, no, you have to do the molar. I'm going, no, Charles, we have this test kit. This is what it shows. Yeah. These are comparable.
This
is for hobbyists. If you want to do this in a public aquarium, knock your socks off.
It is the same on a public aquarium. I will explain you why. At the same time, where you'd have the discussion about the monomers in this one, they use alkalinity, like German hardness, DKH,
right,
and PSU, absolutely without any discussion.
Right.
PSU is not existing. It's a factor. And DKH testing like we do, it's a factor. It is not alkalinity. Alkalinity is way more complicated.
Right, so having a DKH number.
If we will use the same argue, we should say, yeah, but you have to calculate all the 36 different alkalinity parts which we can have in seawater.
Right.
Nobody can do that.
No.
So, and it depends on the temperature, it depends on so many things. So PSU, what is PSU? Practical saline unit, it says nothing.
Right.
PPT gives you maybe an idea. But even not, how is the composition of the salt? And so that's why we use factors. And that's why the same what I'm doing is that I'm using the different carbon factors should be an easy help to see, oh, my level have to be between 3 and 5 and then I'm normally okay. It makes no sense to make a list of all the organic different things which should be in as long as you don't know what effect these different elements has.
Right.
And we are even overwhelmed about all the numbers on the test today.
Right, yeah, we've got the numbers now. We don't need to break those numbers up into even finer particles to say, okay, no.
It makes not a better aquarium. So this is the funny thing, is that you will not get a better aquarium about this. Because where you can find a situation where it make it better. So your tank, and I know exactly, you like to play around.
Yeah.
So you do some things in your tank which was not very smart.
Right.
Let me
and
say.
I will agree to that. I'm always testing.
So,
I always try to find something.
But you love to test it, and I like so much how you give what you educate yourself and what you bring out. And I know how many time you spend asking questions. So you ask me hours long about many things, and we have a long discussions.
Right.
And I also learned a lot because you have a different view on some things, and it gives me the idea to think about. Say, well, shit, maybe it's right. So we have to look in on the other side. So you can only learn. And I see that how surprised you were for some super simple steps. You started something which so many people doing. You're overthinking.
Yeah.
So you lost the connection to your tank.
Right. I was too wrapped up in experimenting and trying new things rather than going
Yes.
back to the basics of what was necessary.
Yes.
Like I said, the pyramid at the beginning, I lopped off parts of the pyramid, and you can't lop off parts of the pyramid.
Yeah, or using the big five, so the test. So you take the salinity, the calcium, the carbonate, hardness, nitrate, phosphate. That's what you need.
Yeah.
So yeah, but you need magnesium. No, if you have a proper soil, you can test magnesium when you go to the local fish store once a half year. Usually that's okay. If you have a good salt, by the way.
Right.
Okay. So, but I was funny for me to see how surprised you were after I asked you, how's the skimmer? I said, what? The skimmer is working. I said, you sure? Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure that the skimmer is working. I said, you're sure? And I said, maybe it is a very, this one. And you come back to me and say, yes, it is.
Yeah.
So,
Then I changed over a bigger and better skimmer and have had much more success since I
yeah.
just made that simple change.
Now you were so deep into your testing. You
I
were
wasn't-
so deep
yeah, like I
about your
said.
discussion, and you asked me about chromium, you asked me about iron, you asked me about solar thing, and it's like, hey, what's going on with the skimmer? So you try to drive a car and you have no tires on it. You don't check the tires.
Right.
So it's so senseless.
No, I have the tires. I just don't have air in the tires.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So and you even don't look on. You don't look on the air, and you have to go to the base.
Right.
So, and if you don't have the base and you don't understand the base, and the more thing is, and I know some people don't understand exactly what I mean. If you work with animals, you need to find out how you get the connections to them, and that you can only get if you sit down and you hear what they said, or you look what they
You
said.
look at them and you know.
So, and it is not possible if you're stressed, if you have trouble, if you're too much work, you're ill, automatically the tanks show this.
Right.
You are not, it's the same like cooking. It's always, I try to explain it in Europe very often with cooking. If you have a bad mood, you cannot make a great dish.
Right.
It's impossible. You need that emotion into it. Where I put the coral, it is the glow on it, how's the tip look like, oh, maybe I put a little bit on this. Today we see only, oh, I stopped this, oh, I add this. It's only 0, 100%, it's only black and white. And the good trick is exactly in the middle. Play around, get emotion on it. It's way, way more important as an ICP test. It's way more important that if I know if I have iron or whatever in the things, or these nice talks about, oh, we have contaminations, oh, we test the salt, and if you take the salt from the back, if you don't take the salt from the back, this plays absolutely no role over the years.
Right.
It plays a role maybe in one bucket now, because it was shake and transfer till to the US. And then I see this different in testing. This difference in testing sometimes is even that what the machines have a difference.
Right.
Even we are not sure if they take the same amount exactly. You don't know that.
No, I'm sure even the people that are administering the tests can change it slightly because everyone sees things and does things slightly different.
Yeah, sure.
And one other thing, conversely to what you just said, if our tanks are bad, typically a reef keeper's life is bad.
Yeah.
So people, I mean, I've talked to literally thousands of hobbyists, and we all say the same thing. When my tank is bad, I don't know what it is. Everything else in life could be good, but
Yeah.
if I'm losing corals, if I lost a fish or something, I have an ick in the tank or whatever, life is no good. Everyone will tell you that's the
And
truth.
then if you have really fun, and then maybe your partner, your wife coming in and asking you why you're spending so much money on animals, which then they die. Oh, that is really
Yeah,
the
that
thing
just
which
adds
gives
to
you
the bad thing.
motivation to go against this.
Yeah.
So I know that some
But
have
that
the
gives you the
feeling.
motivation to do the ICP test because when
Yeah.
things are bad,
Yeah, good for
but
me.
you want to do it and have a baseline, which is
Yeah.
people. When for the pretty much the last 10 years, actually, I think ICP testing's been out for 11 years.
Yeah.
90% of the people use an ICP test when things are bad,
Yeah.
and they never do the baseline to say,
Before.
okay, this is when things are good, so that they can look and say, okay, things are good, this happened and this happened,
Yeah.
and I do an ICP test and I can find out these two things are wrong, I need to adjust those. Rather they go, well, look at this and this and this and this and this, 10 things are wrong. No, 8 of those were right with where your baseline good. It says 2 that are off, but unless you do a baseline test, you don't really know where you are.
Yeah. I know.
I know, but people,
That's what
I
we're
have
doing.
this discussion with people all the time. Well, I just did an ICP test. I said, when was the last time you did one? Oh, I never did one. This isn't helping you.
Yeah, but you must see it on another side also. Why he should spend in that. There's so difficult to get a good education on it and make understandable because these tests are also not cheap.
No.
So you have to spend money
But
on
neither
it.
are corals.
And as long as it's run, so there's no reason many people don't go to the doctors even if they're healthy. They go when it's too late. It's
Yeah.
a little bit the same.
Yeah.
So you can
You're
use it
exactly right.
but you don't need to do that. At the end, I must always say you don't need to do that. It's absolutely it's a helpful tool, and as long as we have these discussions about what I see in the U.S. but not to other countries, but they have to ship here, so we have 5 machines. We have this one, we have this one. So actually here we're doing 70%, around between 60 and 70% of all ICP tests in the world. So we asked that, we had to do several polls, so we use it, we know about the numbers. And so we put all the things together here in Germany and we take care that the things coming fast here. Why? Because I need the knowledge of all people together in one spot because we have so many different machines.
Right.
So that's why we cannot spread our machines in all over the world because everybody works a little bit different.
Right.
And we have some people here. We have a very lovely Italian girl who started with me here 12 years ago to starting the machines. And she's somebody who has emotion to the machines. She finds immediately out if the machine is not so good and she knows exactly where to turn the head. Like I work emotional on the corals.
Right.
So this is a good thing if I will not work on this machine because they are so on spot and I'm way too, I do this now, do this
Right.
now. So, but you asked before a little bit, so why and how we do it, a little bit different things on the ICP, and I will show you
Right.
now on the machine exactly
Okay.
what is one of the major differences about how we deal with the so-called samples. Expect now of the different type of machines, expect now about that we never dilute the samples. But why
Right.
we don't do that, that I want to show you, because then we have to go back to the ICP section now. So maybe you see this machine here, right?
Right.
So, and this machine, it's a standard machine everybody has. So this system, it's most people, Oshiyama don't have this way, but most of them, of the labs, they have this type of the machine. Cause
Okay.
it was one of the first machine where it was affordable to the we are small companies, so.
Right.
And you see that the plasma is laying, and the plasma goes here onto a specific plate. You see that?
Right.
So this plate is OP. This is the optical protection plate. Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is the cooling here. Unfortunately, I cannot open because it's running.
Right.
So you see the hot plasma goes directly to this place here. So now assume if you put here salt water in.
Right.
So all the salt will crushing against the metal and will spray around in the reactor chamber. And the gas and all the other parts, and you see there's a lot of air going up, will prove the particles back into the plasma, and they will relighting the salts, which will creating a crust on this metal. So you get a lot of false reading,
Right.
and you need a software which calls an automatic mistake correction, so like something like that in English. So to correct the parameters. So many things of if calculated, not tested. So what we're doing is that we change this machine as soon as possible. We change it. We detect only reverse osmotic water on it because this is perfect for that.
Right.
So as you see nowadays, you see companies saying our machine is 25 times more sensitive. Can you imagine that a machine building from a company, if they build several ones, that one of them, which looks exactly the same, which works on the same principle, is 25 times more sensitive than any other lab?
No.
Yeah, it's not possible.
They don't do that
You know why they argue that, or how it comes?
because they have to dilute.
No.
No.
If you use fresh water, super pure water, and you add zinc, the sensitivity on that is better than on the other machine we use.
Okay.
But we don't use super pure water with zinc. That's not what is interesting, because there's nothing in one element. On all the other elements, it's light. It's marketing to sell these type of machines. Got it's used for oil, for reverse osmotic water, for ultra pure water, to testing the things. The machine is made for. It's not made for seawater. Because when they start to sell this machine 12 years ago, nobody has RCP on seawater. So why they should develop one for seawater?
Right.
So then the point is quite simple. This machine is a little bit better than the other one in the resolution and to detecting trace elements. So, but if you put no salt in, the first 10, 20 tests is quite good, and
Right.
then the quality goes down. So you need to calculate. So if you set this machine is 100%, then this machine, the Spectre Green what we're using here, it's
Right.
a very specific one, is maybe 97%. But the point is, I can run easily about 150, 200 tests a day with only one stop. So I will show you exactly why this is. So here you have the optical. The optic is here.
Okay.
And here's a hole in this metal shield, and so the light information goes here into this area.
Okay.
So, and here are all the sensors.
Okay.
So now we know what's going on, but as
And
more
it gives the readout here.
gives the data here. So how this is not running because we have now systems on the software going directly to the machines while they do testing, because we do the plausibility checks
Oh, okay.
while testing. So, and now here crusting more and more salt, and they're creating then that you have to recalculate the system. So maybe I can get a good picture for you guys. So this is the plasma. You see it's very hot. So now maybe you can see it. How
Yeah.
the plasma burns against the wall, and so we need a lot of cooling, and this cooling creating a lot of airflow, so a lot of salt and stuff crashing around. So when later then, as soon as it was possible to have other machines, we started using that type of machines, and you see it's a bit different build.
Yeah, different build, different plasma
Yeah.
flame.
The green comes from we need less energy and less gas.
Oh, okay.
This is why they call it green, no or blue. So now we have a plasma which goes up. So we have to rebuild that for seawater, so we have additional gas streams in to stabilize the flame. And if you see now the orange, what you see, the orange is the sodium,
Right.
which is shown. So maybe I can give you a good picture here. Now
Yep.
you see it. So the blue one in the middle, this is the argon gas.
Okay.
And so we spray stuff around. So now you see the glass tubes here. So
On either side, yeah.
yeah, this is double optical interface. So there's the double side DSOI, double side optical interface. So that's the English word for it. That is because there's an optical interface here, and there's an optical interface here to the sensors.
Okay.
So to spread the light information, because we only detect in this area.
Okay.
So we don't detect here in this area where the flame is flickering. So we don't get false information
Okay.
about the flickering part. It's the interference zone.
Right.
And you see now that we push all the salt, all the dirt, which happens due to the burning,
Goes up.
we goes up and we push it out. So when I open this and you can see into the chamber, it's running the whole day now.
Right.
Look into it and you will see no little piece of salt, nothing.
No, it's perfectly clean.
Yeah, so that we have no side effects
Okay.
for testing, because it's no ongoing. This machine is a little bit not so good in the trace elements like this one,
Okay.
but makes a difference if you have on your detection on your sheet, if you have find a 5.2 zinc or 5.5, make that any difference?
No.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
No.
But when we have 8% or 5% more and less calcium and magnesium and potassium, plays
Then you
this a
have-
role?
Yeah, then you have a
Exactly. So that's why we use that type of system, because we have two huge advantages. First, we can handle the salt undiluted. Here on that, they're doing a dilution.
Okay.
And with the dilution, as I explained to you, you get problems over the time. So then you need to cut off, after 20 tests or 40 tests latest, you have to clean it, you have to do the recalibration, then you start it. That's why some people claim you cannot make so much tests in one machine. Sure, if you run it on that way, then yes. Then it's difficult during a day.
Right.
So this one here, which we run here, starting at 6 o'clock in the morning, it goes till 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Then we clean, we do recalibration, and then they run till 12, 1 o'clock morning. And during that whole process, we don't need to wait anymore till the machine is ready. So we take now all the data out of the existing, and we can do the side testing between different machines. So like I say here, now is the total phosphorus, and on the other machine, the autophosphate. Now we bring the things together. If the plausibility check is okay, we said, okay, we can use it.
Right.
If not, it goes to the staff, and they control what's happened. If there is not clear what happens, maybe then we use your second vial as a back test, and then we know if everything runs well. And this is on the ICP-OAS. Now you see it's cleaning.
I see, yeah.
And now
See,
it comes back.
yeah.
See, now the salt water comes back. So the next sample going. So we test 3 tests. Every test is a different standard, which you can see here, the different standards here.
Yeah.
And so we test one test against one standard, one test against another standard, average sinks, plausibility check, check with another machine, another plausibility check, then check with your personal account. Personal account is plausibility, yes, check, okay, we can give it out. If not, goes to the stuff. So then it's controlled automatically by a kind of AI. And about this kind of AI, we are now on stage 3. Hopefully in the end of the year, beginning of the year, we can activate, we can end stage 3. So then it's the automatical control, and then we're starting with stage 4 and 5, which will bring all machines and all different informations together, that all the things you have to do will be individualized. What I sometimes do is with the refill stuff, for example. So, and for all the others, if we have to go a little bit more deeper, then we run the ICP-MS, which is running today. So we have one of the state-of-the-art ICP-MS here with a quadrupole runs quite good for certain elements. It's not good for everyone.
Right. Which ones is it better for?
It's like I say, it's good for rubidium sample or selenium. We can go deeper.
Vanadium, the really small ones?
No.
They're over there?
No.
Okay.
Here, meanwhile, on the ICP, on this one, with the methods we have, we come on the most, we come down to 0.2, 0.5 microns,
Okay.
which is more than enough to run a reef tank.
Right.
So, and it's every parameter under it has not that influence or relevance which people think about. So if I have an issue with chromium, if I have an issue with manganese, something like that, early enough the machine will show. But I can fully understand you want to know the rubidium, the selenium, and many other things like the chromium. You want to know if it's thin and which one low level. They can have an influence over the time.
Right.
But what you absolutely no need to forget, what do you think how many chromium, iron, and manganese you dose if you feed brine shrimp?
Right.
The 10,000th part. So it makes not always sense to look only in the ICP. You only need to think, oh, I feed brine shrimp. And brine shrimp is fully contaminated with all type of heavy metals and metals. Mainly when the stuff comes from China or from China sources.
Right.
They are more clean when they come to the US sources from the salt lakes.
Right.
So because they have no influence of
Industry
lakes
around it,
and
yeah.
industry stuff. But in China you have, they produce the brine shrimp near the aquaculture. So they always very often contaminated with ribio and bacteria stuff. So,
Oh, okay.
and that's nobody looking for it.
Right.
But we use the EMS, and it's highly used meanwhile, to get a little bit more information in those series, so I can understand, but it's also true to say it's not necessary to need to run a reef tank.
Right.
Even not a standard one. So guys like you, they want to know it's okay for. So, and then we have another one, which is now also an Micheal one. It's another company, it's another machine. This one we use for ICP for dirt samples. And with that one we can detect also the rubidium on OAS, but not bromine. This one can detect the bromine, but not rubidium. So it's a little bit stupid.
Right.
We use that as spare. If something gets wrong, we can do a retest on it because the method is totally different. And they have also a very interesting construction which gives us way better information on some points as we have actually with this machine or the other one. But this one are more robust, so we can do a lot fast with a very high accuracy and precision. Where we look for, and we don't look on sensitivity, because sensitivity, it doesn't matter in seawater because we have so much. If we need sensitivity, if we have ultra pure water and search something specific. But in seawater, we have way too much of elements,
right.
So that sensitivity plays absolutely no role. This is a wording, and I can really promise you how more people claim that all the others making claim things that we are the only one, how more it is marketing.
Right.
The technology of testing is something which has to do with discipline, has something to do with real proper working, and with experience. to get the machines on that level, and with that methods you need, and then you prove it against your own cohorts, and then you know, because cohorts never lie. Yeah.
The girls are getting anxious.
Yeah, they want to have some food now. So we come shortly to some. So here you see now, that's the last part. Here you see now all the tests what we do. So these are the tests from today.
Yeah, you can see how many he did. 650 today.
Yeah, we collect them. And we collect them for one reason, that if we need to recheck something, then we can search it out and find it out. So, and then we do a retesting, which is luckily it's not very often the case. But yeah, so now you have a little bit of overview of the lab here.
Yeah, no, it's impressive and amazing, to be honest. I mean, far more than I wanted to know about ICP, but we try to cover that.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's still a lot of debate what good it is, and this is why this is the predominant ICP test that I use and I've been using for the last 4 years. In addition to how specific he is, also all the other information that he provides. I mean, if you want to learn about any element, you just go into the laboratory, push the periodic table, push the button. You want to learn about boron, there's 3 pages about boron. You want to learn about manganese, there's 2.5 pages about manganese. Anything you want to learn about. Also the ratios between the trace elements and the potential for what could happen down the line if your trace elements are out of whack. So a lot of information provided, probably far more, but for someone like me who loves that kind of stuff, it's great.
Good, so we will have dinner now?
We will have dinner now.
So, many thanks. Vielen Dank auch für euch, die jetzt wieder zugeschaut habt in Englisch. Er hat natürlich viel auch für seine amerikanischen Freunde gesprochen, für das heutige Live. Dürft ihr gern teilen, also von them who speaks English, so please share it to the forums who wants to see our visit, Michael Paletta coming especially to us here and have a great road trip.
Yep,
see
it was
some
a great
very
road
nice
trip.
aquariums. And I was really happy that you can go to Karlsruhe to the vivarium and see this work, so which we are really also a little bit proud that we can be a small part of it and
Yep.
things. And so hopefully you will come soon back.
I hope.
So, and then next time we'll have time to come in summertime. That's no main season, so I will take the drive with you around and with your lovely family, showing also that non-Aquarius stuff, so that they have all this fun.
There are no non-Aquarius stuff. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we can go on it.
No, they're the princess and the queen of Riffaquarium, because I'm the king, so.
Yeah. Have a good time. So we go dinner now. Let's stay. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks very much. Bye-bye. Perfect. Super stream.